Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, John.
How's things?
I'm good. I'm a bit tired this morning, but I'm all good.
So we have today on the podcast under 18, Ireland's first gold medalist, under 18.
Yeah.
World champ, IMMAF, and Jiu-Jitsu blue belt.
Thank you for adding that in. I'm proud of
Jiu-Jitsu
that.
blue
I
belt.
am proud of that.
And savage female MMA fighter.
That was a nice welcome. I like that welcome. Thank you very much, John.
No worries.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on.
Happy to be here.
Second female guest on the Straight
I
Talk
feel
podcast.
privileged. I did. When you text me, I was like, oh my God, like I have to now waffle the ears off John for about an hour. I was like, what am I going to do?
And so I'm going to go back. I know a little bit about some of the guests, but I don't like knowing too much because it's conversation that
It ruins the bit of it.
we want to find out about you and the guests want to find out about you. So whereabouts did you grow up?
I grew up in town, so Hill Street, literally born in the flats. My mum had like a little home bird, so I was literally born and bred down near Temple Street Hospital. So I was, I lived in the flats my whole life. My mum and all our family lived there as well, their whole life, so sort of brought up through town. I haven't moved since. Moved around in the same flat, like, because there was a fire and all, so we moved to different flats, but we've always been in the same flat complex, you know what I mean?
So Hill Street, whereabouts is it? I know where Hardwick Street is across from, kind of up from Temple Street a bit.
Literally, Temple Street is like there, and you know Belvedere?
Yes.
Belvo, it's literally like 2 minutes from Belvo. It's
Okay.
still on that road, the straight
I know
road.
them, yeah.
They're nice lads. They're quiet enough as well, you know what I mean? So, handy location.
Yeah, no, it's gift around there.
People, like, my mum's always saying, like, if people were getting apartments around here, so like, the amount they'd be paying for them, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I wouldn't move out of the flats. I love the flats.
Love living in town.
Oh, handy. Like, people have to get two buses in to go to the beach or something. I'm like, you know what? I can get a bus to train, I can get a bus to me mates, I can get a bus anywhere. Like, it's, I do. But even the community and all, like, you know yourself. I know I heard Kurt and Gary and all saying on the last one, but it is a different buzz, you know what I mean? Like, people they're just kind. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. Like, they just...
My ma lived in Summerhill and she moved to Raheny. Grown up, then she moved to Coolock.
Yeah.
And then she moved back to Raheny. But if you say to her, where are you from? She'll go, Summerhill.
You'd be proud of it.
It
is. It's a different... That's
Whereas
what I'm saying.
people move around so much now. Like, I've moved to a good few different places, but like my ma's like, yeah, I'm from Summerhill.
It doesn't matter that she moved. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It is. Because you remember, like, your childhood and all, you know what I mean? It makes an impact. The people make an impact. Like, it's not much to do. So, like, you remember being with a load of people every day. Like, but to be fair, I was lucky. Like, there was youth clubs across the road. That St. Vincent de Paul ran. It was like Osmond House. So I was always over there. Like, even doing, say, like, my mum put me in there for childcare. But then, like, youth clubs, some more projects, like, I was lucky, like, I went banana boating and all for what is it, €20 a month? Like, I was like, banana boating, horse riding.
There is a youth club in the basement of that complex, isn't there? Yeah.
It is, yeah. There was a youth club there and they always brought us away everywhere and also it was actually legal. I can't complain. I want to go back and volunteer soon. I've been saying that, but I have to go back. They gave me like 10 years of legal childhood memories, you know what I mean? So I'll definitely go back there soon.
And what school did you go to around that area?
I went to St. Columbus on a road. So my mum brought me up there because the way she worked, that was like, it wasn't the closest. Scarna, she probably would have been closer for me. But the way she was working, it was closer to go to Columbus and then for her to collect me, you know. And then I went to Dominicans on Griffith Avenue. So that's just finished school now. Thank God. I wouldn't be able to go back.
So did you get predictive grades or which way is it?
The minute they told me, I don't, like, you can get predicted grade or you can sit the exam. I literally threw the books out straight away. Like, my mum was pissing herself. She was like, Sarah, what are you doing? I was like, no, I don't care if I don't get what I want to get. Like, I'm not sitting an exam. I have a choice to not sit in it. Are you messing? Like, got off school early as well in March. Like, I can't complain. Like, people were here complaining to me, being like, oh, like for real? Like, you have a whole summer. You literally have 6 months summer. So I'm happy. I'm chuffed.
And what sports did you play growing up?
I done gymnastics for like 8-9 years. I loved it. I was proper bet into gymnastics. Sort of done after school, you know, like after school activity and all. And then I joined Eccles, and I was good at it. Like I really liked it, but then puberty hit, and I got real like self-conscious. I was like, oh no way, like because my body type, like all gymnasts were twigs, and I was like, oh my god, like I don't look like that. That's sort of when we sport. Like yeah, they always say that like girls when they hit puberty, make sure you stay in sports because a lot of people drop out, and I dropped out of it, and I regret it. Like I love doing gymnastics, even in say Clinton's warm up. Like you know, if you're doing head springs, I'm like but I'm snapping. I actually left that, to be fair. I did love it.
It seems to be, from a martial arts background, like Max grown up doing martial arts from like 10 or 11 or whatever. And all the girls that I remember starting off doing jiu-jitsu with him, like from say 10 and it's like up until 14, all the girls that were probably in Owen's classes in headquarters or as the classes came on, as Max moved up into the teens and stuff, I don't think there's one of them still doing jiu-jitsu anymore.
Really?
And there used to be, I'd say all in all, there was probably about 15 of them. But none of them. It's
horrible, isn't it?
It seems to be, it's a huge thing for girls like to stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They seem to stop a lot. Like
people warn you though, but you don't
said.
realise it. Like, you know what I mean? You're like, it's just in my own head. Like, not like, it's not that I don't want to do it, but you just feel like you can't. Like, you're just like, like everything's changing. Like, I'm
Scarlet.
Yeah, I was like, I can't go there on my period. Like, I know I shouldn't be saying it, but I'm like, oh my god, like, and I just got paranoid, and then I quit, and it was probably the worst thing I'd done. You know what I mean? Because I've missed it since I have. Like, I love gymnastics, even watching it in the Olympics. And I'm like, oh my god, like they do a little thing, say on the bars or something. They do like one of the spins. I was like, I could do that. And I was saying to me, I was like, Mom, I could do that. And she's like, well, Sarah, you can't do it now. I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I could that. Back in the day, I could.
And I suppose jiu-jitsu is hard anyway. It's tough. It's tough. It weeds out people, but it's a shame because a couple of them girls like that were in headquarters, like a few of them were really, really good. Like you know what I mean? They competed a lot and they were good, but they just disappeared. Especially
as well, like say jiu-jitsu, like I know it's getting a lot better now, but like people, if you're a bit like insecure or something and you're out with a group of like you're out with the girls and you're only 14 and there's a group of fellas there and they're like, oh, what do you do? Like, oh, I do jiu-jitsu, do MMA. Oh, really? Like you're tomboy, like you're like that, and you just get like, it's not nice, like, do you know what I mean? You're just like, oh, like you don't want to feel like a man, like when you're like I'm not a man, I'm just allowed to like fucking sport, do you know what I mean? But it's changing, it is changing a lot, but it's still poxy, like it is. Some people's perceptions, My
wife used to do jiu-jitsu and she was doing it for a long time, and then just like that one day, like I think she turned up and there used to be a few girls there and she turned up to her class. She was going to a lunchtime class that she went to and there was like a lot of lads there and obviously she got crushed or whatever and she was just like, fuck that. And she hasn't done it since, really, you know what I mean? I have to try and get her back into it. Because she's decent, like, you know what I mean? But just
she has to be, there's Trevies in the house out.
But it's kind of, it's like I go to a couple of classes with Max, but I do my own ones as well. And it's kind of, you need to find, instead of us all going down like the Swiss Family Robinson, you know what I mean? We're the jiu-jitsu family. It's nice to have your own hour. Do you know what I mean? For her to have her own hour.
Anyone, like, do you know what I mean? You don't want to be surrounded, like, I know he's all love each other, but say he's stuck to you, like, he's going all trained together every single day, he's coming home, like, you'd end up killing each other, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter, like, you need your own outlet, like.
You put that submission on across me now, it's very quick. Yeah, I did.
You deserve that. That's what. Stop.
No, it's good. It's good. But so you then, how did you find your way into Charlestown from town? Did you come across another place?
Yeah. In when was it? 2016. Yeah, it was. It was the end of 2016. One of my best mates, Hannah, she was like, we're on the bus coming back from scale, and she was just like she loved McGregor. You know what I mean? She had pictures of McGregor all over her wall, and she's like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna join MMA. Like, I'm gonna. And I was like, oh, like no way, Hannah. Like, I want to do something, like, you know, when someone says it. And like, I was always active, like I loved sports, even PE and all. Like, I was in my tracksuit every day in school. I got given out every day, like, Sarah, like, wear a uniform. I was like, no. But so Hannah was like, she's gonna join MMA, but it turned out to be like a Gracie Basics jiu-jitsu sort of like 8-week thing in Balance. It was on Drumcondra. It was Balance martial arts. So we went up there and oh my god, like I was literally like, what the fuck? Like, this is literally a mat of like 20 grown men. There was no, like, we were literally the only people probably under 24 as well. Like, we were, like, there was no social aspect of it for kids or teens or anything like that, you know what I mean? But don't get me wrong, it was a nice club to join. And when you first went up and we done it, and we're like, and Hannah is 4'10", by the way, right? And I'm like 5'6", 5'7". Like, I was like, how am I? My poor friend, I'm squishing you, Hannah, I'm sorry. But so we sort of just started moving around like that. We didn't even take it seriously. It was probably like once or twice a week for an hour. We thought we were like absolute, like, we're like, we can batter anyone now, look at us. But we sort of fell out of that real quickly, you know what I mean? We weren't taking it seriously. We liked it, but we just were, it wasn't the right environment, let's say, you know what I mean? So we both were just like, fuck this, like, we're not going to do anything. Stopped then for ages. And then I got back into, I went through a little breakup, you know, like I wanted to glow up. I was like, so I'm going to do something with my life. Fuck it. I hate saying it. It's so cliche. And it's like, you know what? But so I went through that in 2018 summer. And then I was just feeling sorry for myself. I was out with my mates, but I wasn't all there, you know what I mean? I was just like, like, this is shy. Like, I was like, I want to do something. And then I was like, you know what? I read John Kavanagh's book, When I Learned. Like, it was literally my brother gave me. He was like, read that, you'll like that. Like, I read it, and then SBG Charleston was briefly mentioned, and I was like, there's an SBG up in Finglas. Like, that's where I always hung around. Like, I always hung around up in Lanesbridge. You know what I mean? I was like, I never knew there was like an MMA club up there. And then it got redone. The club just got redone, so I missed the open day. But then it came up. I was like, you know what, fuck, I'm not even going to ask anyone to come with me. I'm just going to go up and I'm going to join, because if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. You know what I mean? Just bite the bullet and go. And I remember I was 10 minutes late on my first day, and Owen's sister Linda was there, and I was like, hey Linda, sorry, is it okay if I just like pay now and then come back? And she's like, no, you can pay and go upstairs straight away. I was like, well, I should have my water bottle, like, because I was late. Like, I was like, I'm not carrying a water bottle in here, and she thinks that I want to train and I'm late. Like, I was scared. I was like, oh Linda, I'm so sorry. But Linda, like, have you ever met Linda? Yeah. Like, she's a legend, you know what I mean? Like, I felt welcome straight away, even though I was like little 16-year-old Sarah. I know it's only 2 years later, but like, my whole confidence has grown since obviously I came in. But then I went up to do the Muay Thai class, and they put me with Gav Kelly straight away. And like, you know, Gav, like, he was just like, the minute I'd done it, I knew I wanted to do it again. I was like, so what time can I come up tomorrow? Like, can I come from 6 to 9:30? Like, is that okay? And he was looking at me and he was like, yeah, you can ease yourself into it. Like, don't worry, you know. And then I just started being flat out, you know what I mean? I just started fell in love with it straight away. I was doing the teens class, going up to the adults classes and all. It just made me happy, you know what I mean? And like, I was going with my mates then going up there, and it was just like, what else would I want to do? Like, I just felt good doing it. Like, I didn't think I wanted to compete or anything, and then obviously that changed.
But like, I suppose, like, even in them 2 years when you went to that balance place, compared to now, like, and even when Yvonne probably stopped 2 years ago, it's kind of like jiu-jitsu for girls now and MMA for girls. It's a different layer than it was before. It was very hit and miss before. It was mostly male dominated.
It felt very uncomfortable, and I did, like, you're just like, like, and people are looking at us as if we're girls as well, you know what I mean? It's in like, what, like, do you need extra, like, but not in like, do you need extra help, as in like, you must need extra help, you know what I mean? Like, fuck you, like, what you mean?
But it's not like that now.
No, not a lot.
Because Charlestown do the free martial arts class now for the girls.
Thursday at 6 p.m, free. Don't need to be a member.
Free. Like, and it's really important. Like, instead of being in today's society, especially for girls, like, most girls are bullied or picked on by other girls. Do you know what I mean? It's other girls, and mostly it's not physical. Mostly it's via social media or mental. So it's important. Probably I'm going against all the experts here, but it's important to be able to handle yourself.
I think you should, no matter
what. It's really
what.
important.
Like, I had an older brother, and like, he used to pay me around, do you know what I mean? Like, I love your arm, but like, he did. Like, I have to say, like, he'll kill me. Like,
no, it's important. It's like, okay, you're going to bully me on social media or whatever, but if it gets the physicality, like, I'm going to punch your head in.
Yeah. You need to know, like, but anyone,
it's important.
Like,
it's important.
You should never be the one to start a fight, but you should never have to finish one. You know what I mean? 100%. Like, I'm not following at all. Like, even when people are like, you do MMA, I'm like, do you think I'm gonna, because I do MMA, I'm gonna just start swinging at you for no reason? Like, it's not like that. Like, but at least I know now. Like, you feel more confident as well. You know what I mean? You're like, now if someone actually put me in danger. If someone made a first move, like I know now that like I'm actually alright, you know what I mean? Like good luck to you. Do you want to put a hand on me? That's okay. Yeah. Like obviously not. I wouldn't like condone it at all. But if once someone puts a hand on you, that's different. You know what I mean?
But it's a quiet confidence. It's a quiet confidence. It's like I don't get into altercations, but there, like about 2 years ago, this fella was like Monday morning, fucking jumps out of his car in me window in me van, like irate. And he's giving it loads. I'm like, mate, it's like 9:30 in the morning. And he's giving it, well, blade and pull your head up and da-da-da-da-da. I was like, mate, it's 9:30 in the morning. Get back into your car and fuck off. And he's like, you tell me to fuck off. I was just like, mate, I'm after asking you about 3 times. I said, if you really want to do something, put your hands inside that window and see what's going to happen. And he kind of just fleeing. It's like a passport photograph then going, what? You know what I mean? But it's like, we're all confident in our abilities. Now, on the other side of that, he could have had a blade in his hand. So you're weighing that up as well.
Of course.
But when you've been squashed and crushed and battered and hammered and turned every other way, you're quite confident in your abilities. But you're confident, I know which way this is going to go. I don't want it to go this way.
No,
and I'm saving you from yourself. So that's why I'm talking and you're the one getting irate.
Yeah, you're
Do you know
the
what
one
I mean?
That's about the snapping thing.
And I think nowadays we seen that kid pushing that Chinese lady into the canal. I think nowadays people need to know, like people get fucking mad like real quick.
Yeah.
And people need to find out that bit of character and that bit of discipline and that bit of self-control and respect for others. And I think that comes via martial arts.
I think so as well. That's what I learned from it as well. Like people are like, oh, what you learn from MMA? I'm like, what you mean? Like techniques? Or like what? They're like, no, like you just seem more like I've grown, you know what I mean? It's like I've learned a lot, like, do you know, and I know people always say it, but you have, like, it's you're getting bashed every day. Like if your pride, like if your ego is like, if you have an ego, you don't have an ego anymore, you know what I mean? You're getting mauled, like even in everyday situations, like you know that you can handle yourself, so why would you be the one to start a fight? It's usually, like, you know what they say, like usually the loudest one in the room is the most insecure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I'm a big believer in that.
You're just like, you're the one here shouting at me. You need to raise your voice. You need to get snappy. I don't need to do that. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be calm, and because I know myself, I'm like all right in myself to be like, no, you know what? Like if it came down to it, I'm okay. Might not go my way, but like I'm all right. You know what I mean? I'm happy. You're the one starting something probably for no reason at all. You know what I mean? So look at yourself.
Like that person that's getting irate with you. It's you're probably going to throw a dig, but you're going to get strangled unconscious. You know, you're probably going to catch me with 1, maybe 2, not clean, but you're going to get strangled unconscious, you know.
No. Thank God I haven't been in a situation like that. Like I've never actually been in a fight. Even like growing up, I was never in a fight really outside. Like, but like I wouldn't want to be in one, but like
no.
But
avoid them at all costs, but there's certain times.
It's because like why would you? Like we go to the gym to spar and all. Like I love sparring, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't go out and start and people, like I don't know how people have that in them to do that though. Like
I'm always amazed by it. It's like you're looking at these fellas and they're mad confident and they're giving it loads and it's like, mate, your hands are down by your knees and you're screaming at him. He's just gonna like bing.
Oh no, I was just in the women's class. He's like you ever see a fight, like, and you see it on the street and they're like, what? And they're both walking backwards and they're like, yeah, do something, and they won't do anything at all. They're both running away from each other, like, just people trying to talk them out.
Hands back, you're fucking.
I'm gonna kill you. Yeah, clearly. I'm standing all the way over there. Like,
there's no need for it.
I never realised that how many people don't have basic manners. Like, my mum said that to me. She's like, yeah, Sarah, like, just a lot of people, like, don't have manners. And I didn't get her. I was like, mad people, like, it's common sense. I think it's common sense, you know what I mean? But you don't realise how many people don't. Like, I remember even I was on the bus going out up to a little disco. I was going to Mango's. And I was sitting down and one fella was trying to talk to me and he was like, oh, where are you from? And I was like, oh, town. And he's like, oh, you don't look like you're from town. And I was like, what? Like, and he's like, yeah, you don't look. I was like, what am I meant to look like? What, you, like, do you want a needle in my arm or something? Like, what? And he's like, oh no, but you know, like that's where we're all like, and he started being really disrespectful and all, like little dirty knackers and all come from, and I'm here sitting here and I'm like literally like, I really want to smack him. Like I didn't obviously, but I really wanted it. And here he is, like I don't know, he's either from Clontarf, from Malahide, it doesn't matter, but he was looking down and it's the bits, and then I turned around and said I was from the flats. Oh my god, he nearly had a heart attack. He was like, do you want to be there? Like, do you enjoy it? I was like, get away from me on this bus before I actually snapped. Like, but it was just the manners, it was the way he was talking as well. And I was like, oh, you're meant to be this, like, you think you're better because you're from maybe a better area. But like, I remember even Kurt, I was on this and he's like, there's bad people everywhere, there's good people everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, how dare you? They'll look down on someone or be like, oh, you don't look like, you don't even sound like you're from there. Like, what am I meant to sound like? Do you know what I mean? What am I meant to look like? It's...
Yeah, and as you said there, echoing what Corta said as well, you get shit bags from everywhere.
Yeah.
And most of the trouble caused nowadays is by shit bags. And you get like people like I have a principle, and it's negative people and cutting them out of your life. And I don't mean like ghosting them or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How when I come across people with a negativity level, I was just like, and there would be certain people in your family. What are you going to do? Cut your brother off or cut your man off? You're like, no, you just like, it's like, you don't.
You know your boundaries, you know your lines.
You don't engage in that. And for that shite bag to say that to you when he doesn't even know you or doesn't even.
Like, you know.
Like, that just proves that shite bags come from everywhere.
Anywhere.
Do you know what I mean? And just dodge that. You know what I mean? Just dodge that.
I was just like, I couldn't believe what you were saying though. I was literally looking at him, I was like, you are dense. Like I was getting really annoyed. Like, but I wasn't showing him, I was getting annoyed. I was just like, oh my god, like how dare you? Like, but that's just people, and some people are just
how dare you?
No, but I was like, I know I'm so dramatic. Mom's like, you're like a drama queen. But like, excuse me, you're saying that to me? Like, oh, you just don't say that to people, you know, like. It doesn't matter where you're from, like, especially that was the first question. You didn't ask me my name. Like I remember because I was so annoyed. Like, she said, "Oh, where are you from?" And I was like, "Town." And he's like, then he went on his own. Like, oh, now I'm gonna get. He doesn't deserve 2 minutes of this podcast. He doesn't. No. He doesn't.
I'm gonna get me fella to shoot you.
Yeah, not me fella. All me brothers, all them up and thing.
Everyone. I'm gonna get me fella to shoot you. Just some tick.
Just be like, I'm from SBG Charlestown. Like, they all love me. They're all gonna kill you now. Like, you want to see them out? Imagine that. Imagine.
And I think like maybe your man had a few beers on him as well, and that's, I don't like being in situations like that with people with drink on them. You're younger, you're different. I don't, because it's like, mate, I know you wouldn't say that without a couple of drinks on you, and people act differently with, and you can't read them, you know what I mean? I don't like being around that myself personally,
it's
you know.
It's uneasy, you don't know.
You don't know which way it's,
because
because people are saying shit that they'd never say. He'd never say that. He's probably
I hope he never says it.
There's a few beers on him and he thinks he's bleeding.
Yeah.
You know, he'd never say
I'm
like
definitely going to get, like, chat you up. This is going to win you over. Yeah, clearly. Yeah, you've done well.
And that handicapped fucker is going home going, your one was game ball, I was hitting with all the one-liners on the bus.
Like, I was pissing myself though while I was laughing, like, because then he was like, do you want a bit of moonshine? I was like, I don't want your moonshine. What are you trying to do? Make me get sick on a bus.
And teenage, adolescent, young fellas, they're handicapped.
I know.
They're handicapped. They can't help
themselves. Teenage, right?
They're handicapped. They just can't. Their brains aren't fully formed, whereas girls are like a couple of years ahead of them.
People always tell you things when you're young, and I know I'm still young, but you know when you're like just 13, 14, and they're like, oh, like fellas are a bit less mature than girls. And I'm not saying like obviously there's like exceptions, but like the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, oh my god. I'm like, what the fuck?
They
like,
completely are. That's science, like biology. They completely are. They completely are.
I don't understand. I don't. That's what's the book, Men Are From Venus, Women Are From Mars, or something, other way around. So I don't know.
And then women think kind of differently. Women think like emotionally.
Yeah.
Women think
people
very
emotionally.
Like lads, like emotion. What it's like, I'm gonna do a backflip off the roof of this house. You think that's cool?
Yeah, bro. You do that. You jump so much.
They think different. You know what I mean?
People always say that to me in sparring, though. They do. They're like, Sarah, like, you have to be less emotional sparring, like, relax. And I'm like, I'm trying. Even like Kurt, I was saying, he's like, he hit me, and I just shelled up, and I just went down. I was like, he's like, Sarah, you look like you want to take my head off. Like, you can't be doing that and all. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, you just caught me. And he's like, I know, but it's about learning about it. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to like not feed into the emotions, because it does get personal. You know what I mean? You're
even with my wife, I've 2 sons, so my wife, and I grew up by 2 older sisters, but by the time I was kind of hit them teenage years, they were gone and married. Do you know what I mean? I was the youngest. So the only real kind of female for any long period of time, like apart from me ma, like that is my wife. So like the lads come in and like Max will whack a strangle on her, or Christian will strangle her real quick, and she's like, I was tapping down, he wouldn't let that go. And she'd be, will you have a word with him? And for about 10-15 minutes she's fuming. You know what I mean? And it's like, relax the fuck. He only strangled you.
You know it was only a laugh. But it depends on the mood. It wasn't
just a strangle. She gets real emotional about it.
Like,
whereas the lads are like, what's wrong with her?
Because I'm having a laugh, and no, it depends. I'm sort of a fella in that way as well. Some things I'm very emotional about, but some things I'm just like, sure, look, like, what? I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? It's just a laugh, but
and that's, I always find, like, when I look at jiu-jitsu, like, jiu-jitsu fights for girls and jiu-jitsu fights for lads, but I mean girls that have just started. So white to blue.
Okay.
It's like a fucking...
I was going to say,
male outside a disco at 3 in the morning.
So personal. You're like, she touched my arm.
Whereas you can see them when they get the purple belt and brown belt, they're way more reserved.
Relaxed.
They're thinking. It's because, like what Curtis said to you, you get, and some lads do as well, they get emotional, like they get a dig early on, and they get a dig, and you can see them kind of flaring up, but you run out of steam real quick.
It's not worth it at all. It doesn't work. You're being spazzy. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's you're being spazzy, you're being emotional, but instead of focusing on the problem in front of you or the solution in front of you, you're kind of, that cunt's out there banging me, he's out to hurt me, and you're just throwing instead of, well, I need to step out here, I need to step so I can get the low single or high single or angle off. So you know what I mean? Think about it rather than just like bulling the china shop. But the bulling the china shop does
you need
work.
that, so you need to fight,
work.
but you need to fight in the right way. You know what I mean? You have to pick your times. Right? That's what Owen was going over with me as well. He's like, pick it, because I have it. You know what I mean? I have to drive forward. It's just now about picking off when to use it, when to step back, when to move. You know what I mean? Try not to get hit as much. Because I think I'm grand. I'm like, I can take it. It's okay. Won't be grand if it clips me. You know what I mean?
And it's in jiu-jitsu or grappling or wrestling. It's that knowing when to relax and get your breath back while you're drowning them. While all the pressure's on them and you're getting your breath back and they're giving you a little struggle. And it's, what's it, Sun Tzu says, give your enemy a bridge to retreat over. And it's like, I'm giving you this bridge to retreat over, but there's a Kimura at the end of that bridge waiting for you.
You can walk all happy, you know, you think you're grand, and then you're not.
I want you to go there because I'm snatching that arm. You know,
I'm starting to learn that a little bit more because I'm asking people to flow out a lot more, because like I do, like you try to use pressure and all, and then I'm like, I wasn't even thinking about what I'm doing, but now I'm trying to set things up, because I never realised you could do that with jits. I didn't, like I thought I was only striking, like, but you can. That's what jits is, you know what I mean? You're setting up to set it up, because if you won't catch anyone good with like your first move, you know what I mean, like you won't, like, so I'm like, I have to do this, and it's like a whole thing in my head, and I'm like, oh my god, there's so much information in here. That's when my mom's fascinated about jiu-jitsu. She's like, Sarah, like, Owen Roddy still learns, like Owen, like he still learns every day, like he's a black belt, and I was like, yeah, what you mean, like obviously he learns new things. It's like, that fascinates me, because there's not a lot of things in the world that you can constantly get better at, you know what I mean? There's not, like, this is like, I feel like jiu has no end. Like, it's just something new is coming now, like for yourself even. You're like, someone grabs me that way, I'll get out this way. You know what I mean? It's, you're just constantly learning, like no matter what belt you're, no matter how long you're doing it. Like,
I'm a purple belt, and at the moment I'm going through a stage where I feel like a white belt. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like I'm only starting off. It's a mad one. It's like when I started off, I was like, I just want to be a blue belt and get me a blue belt, and then I'm going to stop. You know, and now I'm like, it's that ingrained in me that I don't want to stop. But even though I feel like a white belt and I come away going, but I put myself in dangerous positions, and there's certain moves I hit and I'm trying to do other moves. And by trying to do them other moves,
you get hit with something
I'm
else.
getting hit because I'm all clunky with the new move. So and really, I'm a purple belt. I don't give a fuck about belts.
Yeah, they don't mean anything.
And some people get
I did like when I got a blue
offended
belt.
by that, but like I don't think they mean anything. They don't mean anything to me because it's like I want to learn all this other gear, and really the belt system. Yeah, it's grand, but like
it's more so for competition and sort of so they can break it out. But like someone who's a blue belt could easily get smashed by a white belt. Do you know what I mean? And then you're like, the belts come into play there. You know what I mean? It depends how much knowledge you get on the mat. And someone like in some clubs you won't want to say you are like knowledgeable and you've done 6 months. You could have more knowledge there than like the blue belts there, but they won't give you the blue belt there. It's only 6 months. You know what I mean? They'll be like, you're only training 6 months. You can't get that. Like, but then you're like, what you mean? Like, I probably would tap all the blue belts there. Like, it doesn't make sense, you know what I mean? But I'm not gonna lie, I was chuffed when I got it at Christmas. I wasn't expecting to get it at Christmas. I was like, I was like nearly crying there.
It's a nice thing to get, but as well, it's not the be all and end all. It's a little 100%. Personal achievement.
Yeah,
you know?
Just to be like, right, grand.
But then when you're like me and you're a purple belt and you get caught by a blue belt, you're like, how dare you? How very dare you?
Stop. Every time you catch me, I'm like, like I actually thought in my head, I convinced myself, you know what, I will not get tapped by John. And then it just happens and I'm like, yeah, so that was 3 times, next time it'll be 2. You know what I mean? It's a little improvement.
I think it's for me, jiu-jitsu is just about, with better people, it's like survival and then try and catch them with something. Yeah. Or try and implement your game on them.
Try be the main word.
Yeah, try. You know what I mean? Enjoy every roll. I don't really get phased when people catch me because at the start I would, and I'm like, I'm not getting tapped. And when I have that mindset, it's like, I'm going to just do my half guard game and just stay there and not chance anything. And he probably isn't going to go anywhere. I'm going to stay there. I might catch him with 1 submission or 2 submissions from that. And it's kind of a brutal roll. Whereas I'm going to be rolling to attack and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And
no, I get you. It's being open-minded about it as well. Though. If you're going and being like, I'm not going to tap it, that's all you're focused on, then you're literally just focused on surviving. You're not seeing what you're not seeing what openings are. You're not like trying to improve your own game. You're just being like, I need to just hang in here for 5 minutes, and then your mind goes into that mode. Like, you're not thinking about, there was actually an underhook I could have got there. You're like, I can't. Just don't choke me. That's actually what you're trying to do. Like,
and then as well, for any jiu-jitsu people looking at this, and wrestle. Just wrestle.
I love
Keep
wrestling.
Wrestle. I need to do you want to get better at jiu-jitsu? Wrestle. I know. A couple of submissions and a 6-month wrestler, 1 year wrestler would probably smash most blue belts.
I'm telling you, me and Bunchen always went to, it was our favourite class when I first joined. So it was like Clinton took it on Wednesdays. Me and Bunchen would be in there and we'd be like, the end of the warm-up, we'd be nearly crying halfway through. We'd be like, oh my God. But like, those were like, even now, like they still are the best sessions, you know what I mean? Like, but that's what sort of helped me when I was going over to Rome, like the wrestling to bits. Like, that's actually what I done in Rome, you know what I mean? I was like, the mentality that I know people always talk about it, but it's just like, you know what, like, you're not going down without a fight, you know what I mean? Like, you're not, but then you have to pick your, like, I remember Max was showing me like something and I was like, oh my God, it's that simple. And he's like, yeah, it's that simple, but you have to pick your time and you have to link it, you have to chain wrestling, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh my God, like there's so much in wrestling as well. Wrestling's not for the weak.
No, it's a different type of individual wrestling.
Different type of graft though, do you know what I mean? You can't go to wrestling in half hours. If you're half hours, you're on your hours. Like,
they'll be spinning up, like you're not going to put a wrestler on his back, and if he back touches the ground, like he's spinning up on his forehead, up on his nose, he's jumping X, Y, and Z. You're not going to put him on his back.
No.
You know?
I like the wrestling, even in MMA though, I like the wrestlers like attacking MMA rather than guards, you know what I mean? Like that's sort of my style of fighting. It's like obviously try to improve everything, but I like wrestlers don't like being on their back, do you know what I mean? Like, and then that's when it contradicts in jits. That's what I found hard in jits, because I was like, oh, like my guard is so bad. Like that's what I'm doing a lot of now, that I was guard working on, but I was like, my guard is so bad because I wasn't comfortable on my back, because I didn't like getting taken down. I was like, I'm going to take you down, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not getting put on my back, but that's sort of how like you put yourself in the uncomfortable.
And I like that style for MMA. It's like attack that single leg, but you're really after the floating, you're after the standing leg. I have the single leg, I'm attacking the single leg all the time, but I'm after the standing leg.
You know which one you're going for though, and then with the cage as well, it's completely different as well. Like wall work is a different thing altogether. Like you could be a leader.
It's like games within games.
Yeah, you need to be able to link it to the wall if you can't. And like a lot of wrestlers won't be able to get like actually like takedowns in the middle of the cage. Like you'll see it, like it's usually like, don't get me wrong, if you're high level you definitely could not about it, but like usually it is against the cage, and then that's overhooks, underhooks, head position, you know what I mean, loads of but that head position and everything is key, and I think your body goes where your head goes. The body follows the head, you know what I mean. Your head's looking down, someone's just gonna snap you down. Your head's looking up, you have good head position. I'm in my head, I see what I'm talking about. I'm like, I know what I'm saying. And
we're going down like jiu-jitsu wrestling.
I know, I don't mean, but I don't
like good.
No, but I don't have enough like key terms to talk about. So people are probably like, what is she saying?
It's basic details. Like if I have someone in mount or half guard, I'm half guard top, or it's like if your head is looking straight at me, you feel comfortable. You're kind of like, oh, I could attack there. So if I drive my forehead into your eye socket and turn your head that way, now you're like going, oh Jesus Christ, what's happening? And then it makes it interesting for me.
Because it's not comfortable for me. And like,
if you're kind of looking at me, it's like, no, I have to like drive your head that way, pressure.
Crossface.
Yeah, crossface. Just make it really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I am terrible for that though. I'd be pure like digging my whole shoulder.
You're doing everything right when you hear the person underneath you gurgling a bit.
Yeah. It's a little satisfaction, it is. Oh, I love that.
So you went to, I'm going to go back here. You went to the IMMAFs in Rome representing, you got selected for Ireland, representing SBG Charlestown, but representing Ireland. What was that experience like? How did you find that?
It was the best experience of my life so far. It was like, obviously can't wait to make more, but it was, I wasn't expecting to get picked. Like I was training a year, and then Owen was like, yeah, so the first under 18s World Championships is going to be held. Going to get a team together. It's going to be trials. You can go to the trials, see what happens. Went to the trials. Oh my God, I was bricking out. I seen Paddy Hill, and I was like, that's Paddy Hill. And I was like, oh my God. Like I was like, when I first seen Owen though, do you know what I mean? I was like, that's but I went there and I was like, oh, right, I'm only doing this like properly a year. I know I done a bit in balance, but like compared, it wasn't really, I'd count it was a good, I liked when I went to SVG Charlestown, I had a basic knowledge of it, you know, I did, but I wouldn't, that's why when people saying how long you train, I just say like around 2 years, because that training wasn't proper, you know what I mean? The hours made up, and that was probably 2 weeks that I do now in Charlestown, do you get me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I know I just went off on one day. I was like,
not that.
But yeah, so I got picked, went over to Rome, went over with Gav, and then probably like 9, it wasn't 9, yeah, it was 9 people from the club, like SVG Charlestown, representing. And then we got the little cabins, and it was great. I was staying in with one of the other younger girls, Sarah, and she's only 13, and she won as well. She won a gold medal, so it was really nice. But the whole experience was mad. Like I remember going into the arena and I was like, even going out, like I haven't travelled a lot like outside Ireland, so I was going away and then with my man, and I was like, oh my God, like I am travelling, I'm going over to Rome, it's summer, it's gonna be warm. I was terrified about my weight. I went over, I was like 2 kilos lighter. The minute I got off the plane, the buckets of sweat going off me. I was like, oh my God. But you know, it was great. It was weird, like it just felt, it's like this is real. Like I didn't feel like any pressure though really going over. I did, but I didn't, like, cause in my head I was like, no one's expecting anything of me, I'm only doing it a year, like I am privileged to go over. Like obviously like winning a gold medal, it was in my head, but like I'm not gonna lie, like then it wasn't that big of a thing. Like getting picked was the biggest thing in that moment for me, do you know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, like I'm actually going to be representing Ireland. But then the minute I got over there I was like, I am winning. I don't care. I was like, no, there's no question now. I am doing everything in my power to win, and I did. So good luck. But
the first I ever heard you, I'm like floating home from work and I've Spin FM on, and I was like listening to you. You got interviewed by Spin on the radio. I was like, what? Gold medal IMMAF? Turned that up. Sarah, who's she? SBG Charlestown.
Yeah, no, you just hear me and I'm like, oh, I hate listening back to this. Even this I'm going to hate listening back to. I'm like, I am absolutely talking 20 miles. Like, is 20 miles an hour fast? Is that quicker? It's
quick enough, yeah.
I'm talking quickly anyways, and I can't understand myself. But Yeah, no, it was little. Like, it was class. I never realised how much I wanted it until I was in the cage. I didn't. Like, I remember the warm-up area. I was like, oh, right. I was all right. They called me up about, like, 6 times, but that was the only problem. Like, they were like, yeah, you're getting ready to fight. And I was getting ready. And then they're like, oh, yeah, actually, you're not on yet. Like, and I was like, all right, Grant. They called me up again.
Emotions up and down.
I was like, Sarah, just embrace it. Like, feel it through your fingers and your toes. I was like, I'm feeling it. I'm ready. Like, I was ready to go. Like, and I had the flag. Oh, I put the flag. I remember hearing someone say that. So I put the flag over. It's a different buzz. Do you know what I mean? You're literally like, I am representing Ireland. Like, if I win this, I win it for myself. I win it for my club. I win it for my coaches. I win it for my teammates. But I win it for all of us. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, we are one team. And like, like, I never in a billion years thought like I'd be representing Ireland for MMA. Like, what? You say that to me when I'm 12 years old, I would have laughed at you. Even 15, I would have laughed. She'd be like, yeah, watch me. Like, and here I am doing it. Oh, it's class. My elbow did snap though in the final though, but that's how I knew I wanted it, you know what I mean? Because Gav, like, I didn't mean it, I started crying and all. I went out with Gav. I was like, he was looking at me, he's like, yeah, okay. I was like, Gav. And he was like, do you want to stop? Like, he's like, I'll support you whatever you do, like, do you know what I mean? And I was just like, and he's like, but Sarah, like, you did win that round and there's 2 rounds left and I'm just telling you, like, there's 2 ways you can go. Like, I won't mind. It's okay. It's up to you. I was like, Gav. I was like, fuck off. I was like, I'm winning now. Like, you know what I mean? But, it was so overwhelming. Even coming back, it was so overwhelming. Like, I came back and my mum, I was so annoyed. I was so tired. We went out after and, like, I was getting on the airport and I felt sick and I was like, oh my God, I was getting on the airport, I was getting on the plane and I was like, I have to go home now, like I'm a rush, oh my God. Felt sick, got off the airplane, oh my God, like I just wanted to go home. My man's in the taxi with me auntie, they're all so happy to ask me so many questions and I'm just like, oh shh. I'm like, I'll talk to you when I'm home, like I love you, thanks, but like I'll talk to you when I'm home, I'm knackered. And then my mum's trying to get me to put on the flag and the medal, like, before I got out of the taxi. And I was like, I'm not putting on a flag and a medal, man. Like, will you stop? Like, just let me go home to bed.
Your ma real proud. And you real, like, adolescent go, ma.
Yeah, like, she's so proud. And she's like, Sarah, me baby. And I'm like, oh, ma, let me sleep. Like, I am exhausted. And I got out and I was like, oh, you know what? Like, I will. I'll just do it for her. You know, she does everything for me. She's asked me to do this one thing. I might as well do it. And then I know I should do, because when I walked in the flats, like all the like balconies and all were decorated and like buttons, yeah, I wish it was buttons. Oh my God, stars. Oh, just in case, no buttons today. But yeah, they were all the flats was decorated and there was flags and all the people were out and all, like, and I was just oh my God, like, I can't believe this. Like, most of them probably don't even know what it is, but they're still like supporting me this much. Like, I started bawling my eyes out. I did. I was knackered and my elbow was like this and I was just like, what is happening? But that's when the sense of community came in again, though. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, like, these are people I'm walking by that's what I love about the flats, though. Like, you're never really alone. Like, you walk on the balcony, you see someone walking, like, walking their dog, like, on the back, or like someone coming out for a smoke, or you'll see some, like, a kid in the flat, like, playing downstairs, you know, you'll see someone always, and like, you always say hello to them every day, but you forget that, like, these are actually the people you do see every day. Do you know what I mean? They're your neighbours, like, and the fact that everyone sort of was behind me as well, I was just like, oh, this is too much. But the low was low, biggest highs for the biggest lows, that, you know what I mean? No one talks about it. Couldn't believe the low for me. I was literally like on the biggest buzz of my life. Oh my God, this is amazing. And then the little come down after, I was just like, oh, I'm injured, I can't do anything. And I was just like, that was my dream. I achieved it. And then I was like, I don't
under 18, some people like, never do it. Some people never do that.
That was my dream for about a year, and I achieved it. I was like, oh my God, like, I need to dream bigger, do you know what I mean? And I have, it's in me, don't worry, loads. Your dreams keep you up at night. I'm one of those little cringy quote people. Like, I love the quotes. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see the quotes. I put one up nearly every second day, but sometimes, like, someone else can say, well, you're feeling better than you know what I mean? So it's like,
but that come down, like, I've experienced that, tons of people. That's normal. It's like the yin and yang with highs come lows, you know what I mean? But it's like to plan the next thing after it.
Yeah.
It's important.
That's why I came back, and then, like, I had a few little sorrow days, you know what I mean? It's like, and then, like, even Paul, like, won her management, and then Owen as well. We're like, right, back on the horse now, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh, I know. I was like, I'm just, but I was like, let me just be me. Just let me be emotional. Let me cry. Let me be happy. People like, Joanne. I was like, yeah, I'm a world champion. What the fuck? Like, Joanne? I was like, even now I'm still like, oh my God, when I think about it, I'm like, that's actually, go on me, you know what I mean? I am proud of myself. No one can take that away from you. Like, because I know some people would be like, it's only the under 18s. And I'm like, you know what, fuck you. I was only under 18 myself. You didn't do it, did you? So
there you go. That's it.
What did you always say? People do more than you, won't criticise you. You know what I mean?
And people in your community, like 70% of them are like, look at her, delighted, blah, blah, blah. A little inspiration. Whereas 30% are probably like, bleeding weirdo. You know what I mean? But still, she won. You know?
Yeah, you can.
So if you kind of inspire a couple of them people, that's job done.
I know, but even like a few people in the flats, like especially during lockdown, like they were asking us to do like exercise classes and all, like, and we were proper, like I've done a few of them. We were just doing like the exercise classes, and then like little girls. I remember I went to Ghana, and I was doing a match against a fella. It was when we first got me blue belt, and there was no girls in the category, so Phil let me go into the fellas division, and I remember Paul was taking a video of it, and he could hear in the back of the video when he was playing it back to me, like, it was so cute. Like, just like a little girl, but like, I want to do that, like her. Nice. And then she came up to me at the end, and she was just like, well done. And I lost, like, but they didn't care that I lost. You know what I mean? She was just like, I was looking at her, she's only about 5 or something. I was like, like, she's saying that to me. Like, that's, like, it means a lot. Like, do you know what I mean? If someone else thinks that they can do it, or even if that gives them a little bit of hope, I might be able to do something like that, then it's better than nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's a little step to making maybe they're there a little bit better as well, you know. Without hope, what is there, like, you know?
100%. I remember I used to bring Max over to train with the UK youth squad, and I'm only mentioning him because you're talking about the girls, and there was like 3 girls there, and they used to fucking smash them. Smash them. Maul them. Mauled, you know. But like, I think there's only one of them still doing it.
Yeah.
I think she's brown belt now. One of them only doing it, Charlie Simpkin, Whereas I don't think the other 2 are down it, but they're fucking animals. Yeah. Judo girls and jiu-jitsu as well.
Oh, that's when you
animals.
know he's getting thrown into an armour. See you later. Like,
But now the girls. Yup, the girls.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that. Yup. No, it is. We're a different breed. Yeah, once we come together, you were right though at the start. You like, remember you were saying girls bullying girls and all. Like, a lot of, I don't know, it's probably their own insecurities rather or jealousy, but people do like. People like to see people do well, but not better than them. You know what I mean? But like, it needs to start getting better.
I think there's 2 types of people in Ireland at the moment, and say for girls, you know, bullying and stuff. Yeah. It's like you'll have the type that is like, oh, my life is so shit, and there's Sarah over there doing her thing, and I hate myself and I hate my life so much that I'm going to give her shit. Because she seems really happy and really together, and my life's all over the place. And then you have the other narcissistic types that are like looking at you going, oh my God, you know, that's they're down on you, but from a place of wellness. Do you know what I'm saying to you?
No, explain that a little bit.
They see what you're doing, but they don't agree with it. They think it's very, it's not very what women should be doing.
Yeah,
and they're taking
it away from it a bit. It's like, right, thanks.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying. I can think
that's not very safe for.
Yeah,
they're worried. They're the people that when you see their kids out cycling, they've got knee pads, elbow pads, fucking COVID masks on, fucking helmets, bleeding. They're like, what was your man's name? Tom Green. Remember, he used to go around in the bubble.
Just like, I'm going to get you.
It's like Jenny that was on last week. She's a great quote. She's a quote like she hit us with about 8 years ago, I remember. And she was referring to this young fella that lives around here. And she goes, that man that have the bleeding stuffing knocked out of him. You know, the stuffing is knocked out of them. They're fucking, any bang and they're terrified.
It's a bit over. It's a bit too much, you know what I mean? We're only saying it in the car, like, it's a very sensitive, like, I'd say I'm sensitive, but like, there's a difference between being sensitive and then being like, closed-minded and not being able to have a laugh. Like, but like, obviously, like, some jokes can be offensive and maybe that's not for you, you don't find it funny, that's grand, but like, You can't put someone in cotton
wool.
I couldn't do a cotton wrap. I was going to say
Cotton wool, yeah.
cotton wool the whole life. Like,
No.
do you know what I mean? Like,
No.
it's not going to do anyone any favours. Like, they're going to grow up, they're going to think they're entitled to everything, and then they're going to realise that, oh, fuck, life isn't like this. I'm sad now. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to do them favours.
You're only a young one starting off. And I don't know, I think this is on YouTube. It's a documentary I was looking at. It's a filmmaker. He used to be married to Madonna called Sean Penn. And then he was married to this other girl called Robin Wright Penn. But he has a young fella that wrestles.
Right.
So his young fella wrestles. He's a good actor, whopper director. He done that film, what's your man's name? Remember your man that went off walking into the woods and found the abandoned bus and died in the bus? Anyway, he did this movie, this fella, wrote a book. And basically, your man Into the Wild, or something it's called, Into the Wilderness or Into the Wild. So your man tracked this place in British Columbia, I think it is. Yeah. And basically lived in this bus and just disconnected with society. Yeah, off the grid. He ate these berries or something. He died. But it wasn't that he died. It was that he turned the whole book, and the principle of the book was on conventional thinking, like, Sarah, that's dangerous, that's MMA, girls don't do that.
I get you.
Or you go this and you do this and you do that. It's like he was talking about in relation to his wrestling and his young fella. He took it back to himself going, there's a chance he could go over on his neck. 90% of the time you're like, yeah, he's a wrestler and he's doing great, fair play to you. And then there's that chance that kids do go over on their neck and really hurt themselves. And then you have the, you see, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, really, yeah.
If you wrapped him up in cotton wool with his helmet on and everything, that wouldn't happen. So there's two types of thinking. Do you know what I mean? And let them fucking at it.
It is.
There's risks and there's calculated risks. Yeah. You know,
jump off a building, maybe not. You know what I mean?
Maybe not. If you look at that, and I'm not. There's risks and calculated risks. I'm not one of them people that believes that kids or teenagers or whatever like yourselves, whatever you want to do, fucking do it. I'll support you. Blah blah blah. I want to jump off a building with a parachute. Not sure that's a great idea. Not sure about that one. But there's risks and there's calculated risks, you know. You don't want to be one of them
but
kids.
But you need to take some of them, do you know what I mean? People 100%. Don't take any. And then, but there's just some, like, there's still the same, there's some risk leaving your house every day, you know what I mean? And then these parents that want to wrap you in cotton wool, you're like, if you're actually thinking like that about, like, say MMA, for example, like, obviously there's risks in that, but there's risks in football as well, you know what I mean? Like, I know it's different because you're not getting punched in the face or armbar or something, but, like, the amount of injuries in any sport, like, sport comes with risk, you know what I mean? Like, if you play a sport, you're putting yourself in a risk, you know? Obviously, some sports are more high risk, some sports are low risk, but there's still a risk there, you know what I mean? So don't put down, because it's not even that they'll put down, but they will. They'll be like, that's a bit dangerous for you. People doing that. They might not be, you know what I mean? Like, they sort of stereotype it. So it's not just like, sometimes them not taking the risks, like, what am I trying to say? Them not taking the risks closes their mind off to other people who do take the risks. They don't understand it, you know what I mean? So they can't really relate to it because they don't know why they do that. If that makes sense at all. In my head, that made sense. I don't know what
it makes sense to me because, like, I'm 45. Some of the best experiences in my life of taking serious fucking risks. And, like, they've worked out.
Paid off.
Like, I'm looking back and going, now, with a 45-year-old on my brain going, fucking hell, what the fuck? You know, what was the buzz at the time?
Yeah, you're like, oh, well, but sometimes you have to trust your gut, you know what I mean?
You're going to fall. You're going to hurt yourself. That comes with the territory. But, like, I think Jordan Peterson nails it down perfect. Like, life is suffering. And if you wanted to make any type of sense whatsoever of the suffer, bear it, run with it, and it does produce. It does produce.
Best memories, like, there you go.
MMA or sport of any type is fucking sufferfest.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you win at anything in life? It's like lighting a lighter, and I'm going to put my hand over a lighter, you're going to put your hand, and last to pull away wins. That's it.
It's that simple, yeah.
That's it. It's a sufferfest. You have to embrace it.
I love it though. I literally put something up the other day about that. It was like, too many people think that they have to go through life and not experience, like, any pain at all, but, like, growth is suffering. You know, you can't grow without like hardships. You know what I mean? But especially with MMA, like it's who wants it more? Who's willing to do more to get it? You know what I mean? Like it's a mental game.
And them risks and calculated risks.
Yeah,
you know
of
what I mean?
course.
It's
no, of course.
the
That's where the
smart
technique
ones
comes in
are
as well. You know what I mean? Like the more you know, the less risk you're at.
Yeah.
Like the more you know, slip there. She's gonna throw that right hand, slip that way up. You know what I mean? Like the more you know, the less risk there are. But getting in a cage, anyways, is a bit risky, isn't it? And we all must be a bit mad.
And people, like the people that I drag onto this podcast are the people I'm interested in. We're the 10%. The 90% are at home going, oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm not listening to this.
Don't go out. Put a mask on you. Put a helmet on you. Don't take the stabilisers off that bike. He might hurt himself. They're the 90%. We're the 10%.
If they're happy, they're happy. But I wouldn't be happy personally doing that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be bored.
And our 10% is not compulsory. You don't have to do it.
No, we choose it. You know what I mean? No one has forced me to do it.
But if you do it, life is way funner.
I'm telling you, I am having a ball. Like, I love my life.
Life is way funner.
It is. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. You're like, right, today, am I going to get like a bruise? Am I going to get a scrap? What is going to happen today? Like, but...
Like, my elf is 80 and he goes out on his bike most days and he might ride 60 miles, 70 miles, 80 miles.
Yeah.
And people say to me, are you not worried about him? Like, he's so old and he's this and it's dangerous and he's going to come off that bike, he's going to die on that bike. And we say, if he fucking dies on the bike, he'll fucking die happy.
Yeah,
if he fucking loves doing it, leave him fucking off.
I agree. I do agree. If
he
it makes you happy, it makes you happy. You know what I mean? 100%. I'm glad we found a passion though, because a lot of people don't have them, and it's very hard to be guided. It can be easily misguided when you don't have something to sort of keep you grounded. You know what I mean? If you don't have something to keep you grounded, you can easily like start doing nothing or start doing bad things for you. You know what I mean? So like, I'm glad that I found like my passion when I did. Like, I never realized MMA would be my passion. You know what I mean? I never thought it would be. I was like, even watching fights and all when I was younger, I was like, like they weren't really for me. Like, do you know what I mean? I wasn't really into it, and like, but then I realized how much is in it, and I realized the feeling I get from doing it. And even my mum, like, to be honest, she at the start she was a bit like, Sarah's a bit dangerous, but then like after a week, she's seen how I was, she's seen like how happy I was, she's seen me coming back from training, and she was like, Sarah, like, you're so happy, like, I'm so happy you're doing this. And now she's always been supportive, but like now that little caution, she's my mum at the end of the day, she's like, me baby, you're gonna get but like, she's just like, Sarah, like, MMA is so interesting now. She's coming up doing the women's self-defense class, and she's learning how to deal with Kimura and all, and she's like, oh my god, Sarah, now I know how you love it so much. Like, it's like, don't knock it till you try it as well, you know what I mean?
And I'm a father, I'm the exact same. It's like, okay, if you're going to get into that cage, this skill set has to be worked on, this skill set and this skill set, and you have to be really, really good. I'm not letting you get into a cage if you're not prepared, because I'm a parent and it's my job to worry. Yeah, I know. That's what my mum says. Sarah, if I don't worry, who will? And you're making your debut on Cage Legacy Halloween. Fingers crossed. It goes ahead.
Oh, don't even say that to me, please. I will cry. I will sob. No, I think it will. Even if it's behind closed doors, it's better than nothing. Do you know what I mean? I think they will try to put everything behind it now to make sure it happens. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of fights that has to happen, especially mine. I just want to fight. Gonna be killed. First fight, headshots. First proper MMA fight. I can't wait. Because anyone who says that I didn't deserve that under 18s or whatever will be proven wrong now. You know what I mean? It's fair. I don't care then what's proving myself as well, because you do get out. You're like, was I meant to get that? Like, I'm doing it 2 years. Am I as good as other people think I am? Am I as good as I think I am myself? No, until you're tested properly, you don't really know. You know what I mean? People can be great in sparring, people can be great in training, but it's until you're in a cage and you're in a real situation, then you'll know whether you can actually be a fighter. You know what I mean? You need to be able to perform on the day to be like a fighter. You know what I mean? So I want to see. I'm not gonna crumble, but I'm interested. I'm excited.
What that is that's placing yourself in the way of adversity. And some people do that for a triathlon, swimming in the sea, running, doing a marathon, you know. And it's what you're doing is what ancient warriors used to do, is do you know what? I'm going to test myself here. And it's
scary, but it's exciting.
And getting back to that, 90% of people are sitting at home with their gas with the heating on.
Damn.
That testing themselves is running up the stairs to get the phone to order some chicken nuggets.
I want to see that.
Or the 10% of people like you, me, and John Boy over there. We're going to test ourselves.
Grafters, that's what it is, though.
You have to face sometimes. Some people do it in business as well.
Yeah.
Face adversity.
Yeah.
Life is so much more interesting when you place yourself in that.
It's a different feel. Like, you can't explain it. Even I remember after a round, like, people were asking me, how'd you feel? You can't explain how it feels to be doing something like that, and then, like, maybe it gone well, but just even feeling yourself, do you know what I mean? You're just like, oh my God, like, I feel great doing this. I am terrified, but I've never been this excited before, ever. Like it's such a mix of emotions. Like, it's overwhelming at times. Like, I remember in training, they'd be sobbing. I'm like, yeah, okay, Sarah. I'm like, no, I'm good. It's just a lot today, just because I know how much I want it, and I know that it's so scary to do this, and I'm like, I want it so much that, like, oh fuck, imagine I don't, like, because you do get self-doubts, but, like, then you come back to reality and you're like, you know what, like, hours don't lie. That's what, hours on the mat don't lie. And then
it's mad with some sports people and like with some and others, it's like, if I think back to when I competed at my little sport and, like, talking about stuff that I won, say when I won something on when I was cycling on a bike, I would, have to do, like, say a 25-mile time trial, like 50 minutes of absolute fucking torture. I can't explain how torturous it was.
dreadful.
It was that hard, your teeth would be sore. Like, pain, pain. And the minute you come across that line and you win, it's just like, it's
No
I'd
way.
imagine, I've never had a baby. My wife is telling me all about it. I was there. But it's the same thing. It's like, that was so torturous. I never want to feel like that again. You get that win, high as a kite, everyone bleeding, clapping you on the back, great for a couple of days, and then
back to reality.
what's next?
Yeah.
You know,
It's
but
all
that's
about
the life.
That's the life we chase for. Like, you
What's
chase for the highs, you know what I mean? You chase, and I'm constantly chasing it. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, it's just what makes you feel complete now. For me, and it makes me feel complete. Like, going up sparring, going up training, like, I could not imagine, like, not doing that now. Like, I literally, they'd be up there in the mornings, they'd go up at 5 o'clock to 7 to do consultations. And everyone do a consultation. Not to my SPG trials.
Say it. Ask for Sarah.
I know, I was like, I have to. But do that and then train again, you know what I mean? And, like, I'm like, what would I be doing if I don't do that? Like, but I'm not complaining. People are like, you're not tired, you're not knackered. I'm like, I am tired, yeah, but being tired is a privilege. Like, I go to bed and I sleep like a baby. Like, I sleep well, and I wake up and I'm happy to do it all again. Like, so it's like, I can't complain.
But putting yourself through that, like, as a person, and you'll find this in later years, it adds experience and layers onto your character.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. You're putting yourself through suffering, like you are.
And some people will do that, and they'll never win a world championships. They'll never win. They won't win. Not everyone wins. So you have to really enjoy when you win, because like, the winning is taken up by 10%. 90% of athletes
10%.
don't win.
Yeah.
You know, so
We still do it, you know.
enjoy the winning. But what happens to the 90% that don't win? They put in all the hard work and ethic that graft makes them better at life, makes them better people, because they faced adversity.
Like, yeah. Owen said to me before, I remember, he was like, so we all have to be a bit mad to do MMA. I was like, I'm not mad. I think I'm actually normal. Like, and then I was like, what the fuck is normal anyways? But he's just like, we are, like, athletes, we are putting ourselves through pain. Like, this is mental torture and physical torture. Like, your body is getting put through the ringer. Like, and he's like, there's something about fire. But there has to be something in the head that's just like, you know what, we are a bit crazy. Like, we're getting, but in a good way, you know what I mean? Not in a way that's like, oh, they're crazy, what are you doing? It's in a way it's like, no, like, we're willing to go out of our comfort zone, and we're willing to be pushed, and we're willing to literally, like, push ourselves to the edge to see how far we can go. Like, it's about finding your breaking point and then realising that's actually not your breaking point. That's what you thought is your breaking point. Your breaking point isn't, that's what you think your breaking point is, and your breaking point's not till there. You know what I mean? Like, we have a lot more in us than we think. Like,
and I think maybe athletes have a different type of a pain threshold as well. Like, and I've heard this from a few different people. Like, I broke my arm in a bike race, and the ambulance fella came out to me, and he's like, "Can you move your arm this way and that way?" He's like, "Ah, yeah, sound, yeah, it's broken, yeah, sound." I thought it was broken. I couldn't move it. Like, the second I came down, I hit the deck about 6 or 7 of us. I must have hit the deck about 40 mile an hour, like quick. And it was, and your mum was, "Can you do this? Can you do that?" I was like, "Ah, yeah, sound."
Was it
and then it
broke,
was kind of, I went home. But anyway, after a couple of days, I like couldn't use the pliers and work, or I was using my left hand, and I was like, "Yeah, I think I need to go to the fucking doctor." Swelling up.
And
I went up to, actually drove up to Blanchardstown Hospital. This was fucking 20 years ago. And my arm was broken in 2 places. But I was fucking a week.
Because you were like, "I'm alright,
yeah,
you know."
so and I've heard me Outfla and another mate of mine, Vinnie Mulvey, before he won from fucking the Irish National Championships, was like, he thought it was normal. Like, he was pushing he was like, "These 2 things keep on coming out," and I just pushed him back in before I race into his stomach. He'd like a double hernia, and his stomach is coming out under his skin, and he's pushing them back in. Like, athletes are just like pain. We just embrace it.
But we just think we're animals. Like, we're like, you know what? We are grand.
It's normal. It's like we have this shut off thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have Vinny actually on in a few weeks. He's some mad fucking. He's a fucking savage. Savage.
He'd be loving this.
I got him to talk about that double hernia. He was like pushing it back in. He double hernia.
It releases. No. It translates back to like normal life, though. Do you know what I mean? Because say you've been through a lot of stuff. Like, say situations that used to bother me a lot before. Like, if that happened to me 2 years ago, I'd be in bits. Like, say like a lot of stuff happened to me, and I've been able to handle it so much better than I would have when I didn't have training. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's, I know we're talking about physical pain, like we can take physical pain, but like being in jiu-jitsu is a mental thing as well. You know what I mean? I'm like, here, like my mind has gotten so strong over doing that. You know what I mean? Now I'm like, obviously you can still be sad and you still are hurt and all, but you know, like, it's not gonna last. You know what I mean? Like, no, it doesn't last. You think the choke is gonna last about an hour, and you think you're not gonna win, but it doesn't. And you think that problem's gonna last, it doesn't. You know what I mean? The 5x5 rule. Like, if it doesn't, if you don't think you'll mind, if it won't body in 5 years, why spend 5 minutes about it? Do you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, I definitely said that wrong, but you know what I mean. People know what I mean. Do you get me? Oh, John. Oh, it was going so well.
So it's all good. It's all good. So you're making your debut on Cage Legacy October, and then you just want to pick up a good few amateur fights back to the IMMAFs again when everything kind of
all the IMMAFs, everything amateur fights. I was meant to fight up north as well, but wasn't allowed to do it just because of the too close in dates. So hopefully reschedule that fight as well.
That was the IUR card, was it?
Yeah. So hopefully I'll be able to reschedule that because that would be a very good fight as well for me experience. But there's a lot of women, like on that card, there was 6 of us fighting at the same weight. You know what I mean? So it's all... That's good. It's good. We're all going to have to rise up and see who's the best, isn't it? Who's going to take baton weight.
And even when you, like, if there's 6, it's like going for them qualifiers for the IMMAF steady. Like, yeah. That's whopper.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Good few people to lump the head off to try and get your place.
If it's you're not fighting for, is it worth it? You know what I mean? It's how you earn it as well. So I'll learn.
And you came down to Sergey's there a couple of weeks ago before the local lockdown up there, but you're going to start focusing on wrestling again.
Yeah, every second week I'm going to go up on Fridays to Sergey's, and then I'm going to go up to Paddy's gym as well. So I'll get to spar. They do a sparring, and there's a good few girls up there, like Sarah Carney and all. So I'll go up, do a few rounds with them, and then I'm going to go up to Nice. And then it's going to be great. I love training so much to do. It's like a never-ending circle. There's just so much to do. So many people to meet, so many knowledge to learn. So, so much
to learn.
Hopefully my English will get better by then.
It's all good. Do you know it's good? I'm trying to improve my command of the English language at the moment. So I'm reading 2 books at the same time because I get people message me going, you're not articulate enough to be running a podcast. And I'm like,
you know what?
but when somebody says that to me, I don't go, oh my God, how very dare you. I say, do you know what, mate? Thanks a million for that. Because I'm the type of headbanger that if you say to me, see that 5 litres of orange juice over there, don't drink that.
I'm going to drink all of it.
I'm fucking drinking every fucking bit of that. And I'm not going to take a fucking breath. Because I love when people say that to me.
It is though.
Because it makes me go, sound, you don't know what's going on in there. And I take that as a challenge. I don't even know what's going on most of the time. I take that as a challenge when people say,
it is though. If they're like, oh, you can't do that. You're like, oh, really? I can't. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, I'll prove you wrong. Like, there's a bit of satisfaction in it. There is. You shouldn't do anything for anyone else. You shouldn't. But as in, like, that shouldn't be your main reason. Like, but like, there's joy in it. You know what I mean? You're like, no, you know what?
But I take comfort in that. It's like, so even some fucking random are messaging me that, and I'm not giving out about him. I'm fucking delighted he did, because it's like, mate, you know what? You're fucking right. I do need a better command of the English language.
Like, I'm gonna get it.
And when people say shit to you that's kind of a bit uncomfortable, you can put it down to, you can get emotional about it, or you can say, if it stings you a little, it's like, why is this stinging me?
It's a nerve, you know what I mean?
And you have to work out, it's stinging me probably because there's a bit of truth in it, or I need to look at something there, or I need to resolve something, or I need to work harder, you know. Or you can just be like, I dodge negative people, and I'm talking about negative people like, what are you doing loads of training for? Let's go down to Bowser, get a bag of sniff and fucking have a great time with our lives wasting it. Or like negative people come in all types of ways, whereas you can put your man's comment down to negativity, which I'm not. I'm putting it down to positivity, because you're like, yeah, mate,
you can take
I'm reading 2 books now because of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. You know what I mean? It is though, because it hit a nerve, you know? Like, it did hit a nerve.
If they sting, you have to, I always analyse it. It's like when people, I'm always fucking, I think it may be jiu-jitsu or sport or whatever, that I'm always kind of breaking down scenarios going, you know, why is that? And I need to work it out and see which way, and then go, It's in our reflection as well, though. Do you know what I mean? If it's stinging, like you just said, why is it stinging? Figure out why it's stinging, then that's how you grow. You know what I mean? I love growth. I do be pure analysing myself. I'm like, oh my God, I thought I actually knew what I was doing. And then I'm like, a month later, I'm like, you know what? No, that's not that. That wasn't, I didn't do that for that reason. Like, so I wanted to think I did, but I was tricking myself, you know what I mean? You just have to, you don't want to, I don't know what I'm saying. I like, I do. You're a lot younger than me, and sometimes the longer you're around, the less you know. That's for me anyway. That's the longer I'm around. Things I think I have figured out, I don't have fucking figured out.
You're like, no.
It's like, okay, I need to go back here again. You know what I mean?
That's the best way. Though. People always say as well, time goes by once you get like 16, 17, you'll see how quickly time goes, and oh my God, like time is flying. And I know obviously COVID, but before then, like I never realised how valuable time is. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, like yesterday feels like a month ago feels like 2 days ago. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can remember like everything, like, and I'm like, this is mad. Like, this is what adults mean when they say cherish the memories you make when you're younger as well, because it's gonna be gone in a flash. So like, that's why, like, I remember you were saying do what makes you happy and all, and that's why, like, even going training, people used to say to me all the time, oh Sarah, you're training way too much. Like, people were, like, my mates were worried about me. They're like, Sarah, like, you're coming in exhausted and all, and that probably was because I wasn't eating the right foods and all, do you know what I mean? So like, obviously a bit myself was to blame on that, but I was happy doing it. I was like, it's gonna pay off, I'm telling you. It's like, but like, if you're happy doing it, like, I'm glad I done all that. I wouldn't change any of that. And even now, like, I'm gonna hopefully start college in October. I'm gonna do history and religion, secondary school teaching. History's my favourite subject. Find religion interesting because you can see different ways of cool. So you can see different, because to be honest, religion is a concept, you know what I mean? It's different people's beliefs coming together, and it's interesting to see how that came up. But I love history, and I always wanted to teach, and touch wood, but you never know what can happen in MMA, you know what I mean? It's a very you need a backup. I need a realistic backup as well. So
like you need something else, because it is a short L career. And you need a plan B.
Yeah, so teaching, that'd be good. I'd love to. But see, I wouldn't go to, my mum said as well, my mum wouldn't push college if I didn't want to go, you know what I mean? But like, she's always said, it's good to have something there. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not going to go to do a course just to do a course. Like, I'm not wasting my time doing that. Yeah. But then I was like, I actually love history and like religion is interesting. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do that. And if, say I don't like it, then obviously I'll deal with that when it comes to it. But like, in my head, I'm going to enjoy it. So no, I will go to college and I'll go train and I'll just live my best life, John. That's
And what history, what college are you thinking about going to?
CCU, yeah. So it's 4 years, but we don't know how those 4 years are going to turn out. But it's 4-year course, so it is history. So first year to sixth year, second skill. So you'd be literally doing everything like the famine, like Irish history, European history, American history. Like
Deadly.
It's a big course, but like I love it. So I'm going to be literally looking at the things I like. So you know what to say, if you like what you do, you don't work a day in your life.
I'm a history nerd. I love history. Yeah. So I study European history. I was mad into it in school. Still am now.
Wars, the whole shebang.
So what I'm going to do is we're going to get you in again. We might get you in again after your Cage Legacy.
After the win.
And I want you to give your Instagram name for people to follow you.
Yeah, so Sarah ES _ fancy.
And a couple of your I know you're sponsored by Massage Gun and Koi and
Yeah, RDX as well.
RDX.
Great management, one hit management. Best in the business, works when no one else does.
Paul Fogarty, legend.
All the coaches as well. You know yourself, like everyone. Love you all. Have the best team. I'm going to get cringy and all, so I have to stop, John.
We're going to get Sarah in for part 2 again, which because she's a good savage person for young females to follow because she's a proper feminist, strong female. No victims here. Strong female. No. Anyway, that's us on the podcast. We've a really top guest in during the week. We just had one. Only top guests on the Straight Talking podcast. So really excited about that. That's us finished. Yup.